Hello, hello, we're back. We're back out in the garage at RPM headquarters in Racing Roseville. As you can see, we've got a few things done. We got the throttle working. I don't know if I showed you that. I mean, I showed you the brakes, right? We still haven't got fluid in them yet. But we've got it set up so the anchor for the throttle moves here, moves it from pedal position 2 to pedal position 3. We just add another brake rod here and it sends us all the way down. So it's quick change from Rich to me. We're working on headrest over there. We'll bring you that in another video. Because had Rich laying in the cart with a helmet and myself and took pictures of where our head sits and how much room we needed to slot the motor mount a little bit and get the motor moved back a little. We needed to take Bob's big stainless steel plate off and replace it with something a little more lower profile and shorter, because we need every inch we can get back here. We've put the decompression cam in so we can pull start now. We're going to get the next bit is to get the overflow tank and stuff on for the oil and all that. But yeah, we got the chain cutting on there. It's looking good. We're making some progress. Tanks are on. I didn't show you that. We made some little butterflies out of Teflon plastic. Same stuff as that sheet of stuff here. And it's very much like a butterfly you'd find in a regular 2-stroke motor mount, right? Except it's plastic. I mean, it doesn't really need to hold anything from moving. It's not going to move. We've got them all the way 4 1/2, so it can't really move. We've got riv nut in the plastic that's holding everything together, bolt through everything, and yeah, we'll get some rubber on the tubes here, some hose or something to take up that room, so there's no flexibility there, or very little. With that aluminum, the more it bounces and vibrates, the better chance it has of cracking and breaking off. This will just get us going. We may go with something a little thicker aluminum later on down the road, but we just needed to get it going. So tanks are drilled and plumbed. We got the non-leak fittings in there, check valve in the middle, so that one's going to feed this one. This one's going to feed the pump, feed the carb. We're making some progress. We're scratching things off the list. Once we get the headrest deal done, seat back in, I think we're done. We'll get back bump. We got to do something with the back bumper. It's going to be just like this, the way this slides into the main frame here. We'll have something that slides into the back here and holds the bumper on. Again, the car will be too long for legality, for racing rules, but we don't care because we're not going to race it. We may throw it on the track during a race, but we don't intend to run to a scale and try to collect points and trophies or anything like that. That's not what it was for. But next opportunity for us is going to be Nelson Ledges. We won't be taking it to Grattan in 2 weeks. So that's it. We'll try to get this thing, no body work, nothing like that, nothing crazy. We'll get a number panel on the front. We'll get some vertical panels on the side just to doctor it up and spruce it up a little bit and get it ready for Rich to go. We got, before I can get my car done, we've got seat out, we got water system all apart. We're going to move the water temp probe from right after the engine where it is now, or was over here, all the way back here. We're going to put it right here where these two hoses are pieced together. So it's on the back side of the motor. I don't think the temperature from, say, a foot after coming out of the motor compared to 2 foot or 3 foot later is going to be a very big difference. The rubber hose is actually an insulator. It's not doing anything to cool the water off. The whole idea is to move our sampling over here away from the engine, because the brain for the data acquisition is here. This is our water temp. We've got this is our old probe and our old extension cable that went in this direction. We've got a new probe, new water sampling block, right? And we have another super long extension cable that we've never used yet. I've had this one for a while, but we've never used it. And that'll keep the wiring away from the engine and electronics and ignition way over here. And we're hoping to get a more consistent number. Like I said in the past video, when we let off the gas, the water temperature number drops, almost like an exhaust temp does. And that's not normal. Those probes are not that sensitive. We've proved that by doing what Micron asked us to do, which is put this in boiling water and make sure that it's accurate. First of all, that it's calibrated, that it reaches 212 when it starts to boil, what have you. And we pulled it out of the boiling water, and the temperature didn't drop. Certainly didn't drop for about a good 15, 20 count. And then it went 1, 2, 3 degrees here, there. It's not like getting off the gas at the end of the straightaway and it dropping 20 or 30 degrees like we've been seeing. So that isn't normal. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add some new parts and move it away from the motor and see if we can get a more stable number. And that will be what we're going to test at the next time out, whether it's Nelson or Gingerman or Grattan in our fall test. So along with that, we're getting rid of the Ripley rotor. We're tired of these things cracking and breaking on us at 170 or 180 bucks a piece. Just ridiculous, the amount of money we spend on that stuff. So what we did in the old video, I showed you how I get the parts from Mondo Kart, right? This was a $45, $46, $48 rotor. It's cast iron. It's a little thinner, but it's drilled and vented. We got to get some metric. This is in English, but we got to get some metric shoulder bolts to hold it all together. And Kim from Watsky from PKT, the axle guy, Precision Karting Technologies, he made us this. Is actually a bushing that goes from takes you from an 1 1/4 axle to 40 millimeter, and that's what we use over here on our sprocket. That's the piece here, because the sprockets, all for KZ, ICC, shifter motors, none of them were made for English stuff. We used to have an old aluminum hub that had 4 studs in it, and then you had to buy aluminum sprockets. That was way back in the day when we used to use a place called APS. As some of you all may remember, those guys that were in Ohio. It's more like a mini bike online store now, but all that stuff has gone to the curb. We've been on these 40 millimeter sprockets for a while. We made our own bushing initially and welded it to the axle to try it. When it worked, then we got a hold of Kim. Kim was the axle guy that supplies us axles for our indoor carts at the go-kart joint I used to work at. And that's how we got to talk, and I drew him up a picture on a napkin when I went to go pick up axles for the indoor carts, and lo and behold, boom, he popped me out 3 of these. Larry Rumsey's got one. This one was for my brother Rich. He never used it. And the other one's on my cart. So what we need is one of these just extended longer so it goes all the way through this hub, all the way out the other side. And that will allow us to use this setup on an English rear end or an American standard rear axle. Why don't I change it all to 40 millimeter like we're going to do with the other cart? Because now we're talking about bearings. The hangers would have to be changed, axles, cassettes, everything. That's a huge amount of money. I'm not ready to do that with this cart right now. This is much cheaper and quicker and easier. And we don't know that rotor is going to be any better than this one longevity-wise between it cracking. So let's say it lasts, this one lasted 2.5, maybe 3 years before it cracked. If this one lasts 2.5, 3 years, I can buy 3 or 4 of those for the price I can buy one of these. You follow me? You're doing the math. So that's where we're at with my car. You know where we're at with that cart. We're working on the rear doors of the trailer. I'm going to take you over there to Rich's real quick. We're about ready to snap up the reproducing of the rear doors. We didn't rebuild the old ones. We just made new ones. We showed you a bit of that already, but we're going to go over and finish those up. We got new hinges that need to get to replace the ones that are on the trailer. So we got cutting and grinding, welding to do on the trailer yet. Rich has got some sandblasting and recoating of the center bar that holds those 2 doors sealed and locked down. So we've got a little bit of work left to do there. And then tomorrow is the 26th of June. I've got to go to the fiberglass supply joint and pick up some stuff for Tony H. How you doing, buddy? We're making him a set of bodywork that he can paint or color or personalize himself to put on his cart that he bought from Rich last year. He likes Rich's paint job. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty. It really is. It's Rich didn't hardly get a nick in that thing, as he didn't run it all that much after we painted it. But Tony wants his own look, his own color, and I don't blame him. So we're gonna get him his own set of body work, and we'll deliver it to him up there in 2 weeks at the race at Grattan. We don't intend to take a kart up there. We may not even stay. We may just go up and hang out outside the gate until we can meet with Tony and exchange body work and pleasantries. So playing around, making body work with those old molds from my kart, you know, the same things I've got. I hate doing it. I just hate spraying gel coat and laying fiberglass anymore. It's why I still have 12-year-old bodywork and an 8-year-old paint job on my kart, because I just hate doing it. It's just such a mess. I used to love laminating fiberglass and hand laying glass and spraying gel coat. Back at the old house, I don't have any video really from over there. I had a separate back room. You literally go through 2 double doors, close the doors, and there was a whole room off the back of the garage. Had heat ducted into it. For the winter, I could spray paint back there. I could do all my composite work back there, cut, grind, whatever we were doing was getting done back there. So none of the mess was out here in the rest of the garage. And I tell you, that composite stuff, it blows around, it makes a mess, it gets tied up in everything, it clogs up your shop vac. It's a real pain in the rear. That's why we kept it all in that back room. And of course, painting and stuff, you get overspray. The gel coat is even worse. So what we'll probably do is get the stuff out in the driveway here underneath the pop-up and just put some cardboard around it to catch the gel coat overspray, and we'll do it out in the driveway. We won't even do it in here, which again, hence, if you don't have the proper place to do it, I really don't like doing it. So we're going to make Tony a set. We're going to make a set eventually for our buddy Rich Sheedlack in Chicago. How you doing, Rich? He's putting together a go-kart after being out of go-karts for a bunch of years now. He's been into some Bonneville and land speed, runs, measured mile runs on crazy apparatus him and his buddies over there have been building for a while. So he got a hold of us, and that's really the reason we agreed to do the bodywork for Tony, is if we're going to do it, we may as well do 2 or 3 and get it out of our system and put them molds back up in the attic over Rich's house and get rid of them. So that's where we're at. Tanks are on. We've got things scratched off the list to do. We'll have this thing up and running in running form in no time once we get past this headrest deal. Again, that same system is going to go on my seat on my car as well, because I'm having a problem being able to see where I'm going. You watch any of those helmet cam videos and you'll see me keep reaching up and pulling the top of my visor down, because you can't see when the cart starts to vibrate. You tend to want to lift your head up off the headrest so you can see where you're going, because the car is vibrating. If your head's still part of it, your head is vibrating, and then you can't see. And then when you lift your head, your helmet tends to want to go skyward. So we're working on all these things, and it gives us a reason to load them back up in a trailer and go try them again, right? So that's it for now. We'll bring you some more from Rich's house, putting the trim on the doors and screwing everything together. Love y'all. We'll talk to you in a bit.